Welcome to Marketing with Confidence. I'm your host, Marianne Amies. We're going to be talking all things digital and online marketing for business owners and marketing professionals. If you've been feeling overwhelmed by your digital marketing, be sure to listen along and you'll hear tips, interviews and more that will give you the confidence to create marketing you love. Welcome back. It's so lovely to have you here with me again on the podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about what is the best social media channel to use. I was recently interviewed on the IOPO, the Institute of Professional Organisers, in their Facebook group with their members. And it was a Q&A around social media following a course that I've launched for the IOPO and professional organisers all about social media confidence. And one of the questions that came up is, what is the best social media channel for me to use? Now, I hate to be that person, but there was no straightforward answer. So there's so many social media channels. We know that Facebook has been around for years. Instagram has grown hugely in the last decade. There's LinkedIn. We've got TikTok that everyone's talking about. Pinterest that continues to grow and do some really great things. And then some of the smaller, more niche like Twitter, Clubhouse, if it's still even sort of working, Be Real that's emerging at the moment, Snapchat that was doing phenomenal things until Instagram wiped it out. So there's a lot of clutter in the social media landscape. And in my podcast recently about the barbecue effect, you'll also have a lot of people telling you what you should be doing. And that can get really confronting when you go down one pathway and then you hear, other people's opinions. So when you're looking for your business about what social media channel is going to give you the best results, my first piece of advice is to lay your foundations. Who is it that you're talking to? Who is it that you're marketing to? Who is it that is most likely to buy your product, your services, engage with your offer? We really need to start there before we even think about what's trending, what's hot, what's being talked about, what's the latest fad. When we think about our ideal client, we want to build a really clear picture in our mind. What does this person look like? How old are they? Are they male? Are they female? Are they non-gender specific? Are they all things? Do they live in cities or regionally, or is that not relevant? Are they international? Are they married? Are they single? Are they, at a life stage where they have children, or a life stage where they're retiring? What do they want and what do they need? And this is where we specifically think about pain points. What are they hoping that they will get out of working with you, and how can you bring value and a solution to their life that's going to benefit them? So part of this work also then leads us to see, where are they? And when I think about where are they, I think about, where are they working? How are they commuting? Where are they on weekends? What do they love doing? And where are they on social media? And when you have that clear ideal client profile, or one or two in your mind, and the where they are on social media falls out from that, you have the first piece of your puzzle around what social media is best for you to use. So when we think about where your ideal client is on social media, it can, of course, really come into their demographics. But I want to take you through some stats first, because as I mentioned, Facebook's been around, it feels like, for a million years now. It is our original social media platform. And because of that, it gets written off a lot as, not engaged and not effective. From September 2022, socialmedianews.com.au was where I always look up my social media Australian stats. They report that Facebook has 18 million active monthly users. Now, the Australian population, off the top of my head, is between 26 and 27 million. So 18 million people are active on Facebook. Active. Not just have a profile, active. So they log in and they look at it. Now, the landscape of Facebook has definitely become more passive. We might not see the comments and the likes, but we certainly see the clicks and we certainly see the conversions. So thinking about that, 18 million active on Facebook, there's a high chance that your target market is active on Facebook, and Facebook's a social media channel you should be exploring. When we look at Instagram, it now sits at 10 million. So it's just over half of Facebook, but still it's just over half. Whereas we place so much importance on Instagram, and for certain demographics, that's going to be right. But it's really just important to see that, of that 26 million, 10 million are active on Instagram. So again, in many cases, your demographic, your ideal client might be on Instagram. We come down to LinkedIn, and it's much smaller. It's at 6.5 million. Now, we know LinkedIn is fantastic for B2B and professional-based conversations or professional-based services and products. So 6.5 million there. And then when we come down to TikTok, which is all the rage, 1.1 million active users in Australia. So 26 million people-ish, don't quote me on that one, 1.1 million versus 18 million of Facebook, 6.5 million LinkedIn and 10 million on Instagram. So although we're hearing a lot about TikTok, and there certainly is opportunity with TikTok for different demographics, it's really nice to look at the data, as I love to do, and just use that as a point of reference. So thinking about, those data points, where the bulk of people may be, and then thinking about who our ideal client is. So, I could confidently say if you're looking to engage with a client base that might be, maybe 30 plus, you're definitely going to find a lot of that primarily on Facebook and Instagram. If you're looking for a younger demographic, so say maybe 16, even to sort of 35, I do think you're going to find a bulk of that on Instagram and obviously on TikTok as well. I think that TikTok is reaching pockets of older demographics as well, but I think the younger demographic is really active on there right now. And that is very typical of the evolution of every single social media channel. I can tell you from 12 years of being in digital, there is an absolute pattern where the majority of people to start on a channel are younger, and then as parents come on to supervise, and as grandparents come on to, see the photos and leave adorable comments, those younger people then flow into the next big thing. And then we sort of follow along. And if you've been on a bit of a journey with Instagram, certainly in the last 5 years, you'll have seen that when Instagram started. And I've reflected on this before, my niece telling me in sort of 2013 or 14 about Instagram, and me just wiping it away. No, don't need to know about it. Not interested. Facebook is everything. And I think within 2 years, then we were heavily invested in Instagram. And certainly, over the last 5 years, our clients' planning priorities are really Instagram led. So, I do believe we may see that with TikTok in the next, 5 years. The challenge with TikTok is you really need to be a face to camera or creator-based brand or offering to succeed. So as opposed to Instagram and Facebook, where it's a bit more visually led in terms of you can use, stills, and you can use images of beautiful product imagery. TikTok does really lend itself to one-to-one conversation, face-to-camera type work, to creators, using your product and giving an honest hands-on, rough and ready look into what your product is and what your product does. Whereas, Instagram continues to be more polished, although we're seeing that start to move away a bit more. I preface that or I go back to that and say all channels favor video now, and that will continue to grow. So, I certainly think that a video-led strategy for Instagram is going to give you the best results, but there is still, I think, more capability within Instagram to not just be face to camera, as on TikTok, I believe you need to be just face to camera to succeed. And that brings me to, I guess, another really important point when you're looking at the best social media channel to use. I, again, number one, believe you need to lead with where is my ideal client? There's no point being on a channel where your ideal client is not active. But further to that, where are you most comfortable? There is never going to be success in trying to align yourself with a channel that either feels completely inauthentic for you, or you are not confident or capable to create the content that channel demands. And every channel demands different content, and you need to be really, I guess, honest about, are you committed to creating the content that channel requires for success? Is there someone else on your team or someone you can contract to, or a face of the brand you can engage that can create that content for you? And, and if not, what are the more effective channels for you? Or is there a strategy where you use ads on certain channels where you can't commit to the volume of content that's required, and do the volume of content organically on the channels where you feel most at home? And then I guess lastly, with all strategy, with all decisions, it's continuing to test and measure. You may set out on a social media strategy, taking in a couple of channels and create a content plan and a content approach. But it's really critical that you continue to analyze the impact that that's having on your business. So, leaning into the analytics of each channel, and then, if possible, leaning into deeper analytics via something like Google Analytics to really break down by channel where your conversions are coming from, whether that's inquiry, whether that's actual sales, if you've got a product-based business, or bookable services, and really then making decisions based on that data. If all your conversions are coming through LinkedIn, but you're also doing Instagram and TikTok, maybe it's a decision to just go all in on LinkedIn and either leave the other channels behind or put the other channels into a bit of a maintenance strategy. I will say I also recommend sort of focusing on about 2 different channels at a time. It's so, especially if you're doing it on your own, it's so time consuming to manage multiple channels, and it's so critical that your content is designed and created per channel. It's very hard to repurpose 100% the content across all channels. You can certainly replicate, tweak, and push out per channel, but there are, certain content types that are just unique to each channel. So focusing on about 2 channels, I think, gives you an opportunity to be where your ideal client is, to have a comparison of data to analyze and make decisions on, and can help you to feel less overwhelmed and less in control. So although I can't tell you the best social media channel to use for your business, I hope that what you've got out of this is a framework to analyze and go out and test and measure and learn. I would love to hear your thoughts on this episode. Feel free to DM me on social media, or to send me an email and really tell me, what social media channels are you using now? What are you seeing that's performing for you? What's surprising you? And what did you try after this episode, and how did you go? And I hope to see you soon. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If If you don't want to miss one, make sure you subscribe to the show in your podcast app. And if you love it, be sure to share it with friends and colleagues who you think could benefit from increasing their digital marketing confidence. Want more? Head to maryanneamies.com to find out how you can work with me directly, to reach out to have me speak at your event, or to grab yourself some free resources.